Hi, thanks for having me. So excited to be a part of this. Yeah, so I created my own social media agency, and I help brands kind of build their organic growth with their posting for them, as well as their pillars of communication and growing sales. I'm more focused in travel since I built my own travel brand. So I learned it from the inside out, and I've grown over 1 million followers in the travel space. And curating content is key, curating that right style trending content. So FPV drone, cool edits, the timing, understand how the algorithm works. And as I did that, I traveled so many places, and I saw a lot of plastic pollution on many travels, and beautiful isolated beaches in the middle of the world, like Komodo Island, Flores Island near Indonesia. Even in the Seychelles, where I'm from, I'm born on an island and half German, and yeah, like Dominican Republic, seeing the waterfalls, and realizing that the trash goes from these places to the rivers and trickles into our oceans. And I feel like we all need to do our little part. So I started an NGO, One Ocean, One Future, with a childhood friend of mine. And the goal is to take through a skimmer, like a boat skimmer, take the plastic out of the rivers that lead into the oceans, to kind of get from the beginning before it gets worse and starts spreading. I've also done some coral planting with in the Maldives, because a lot of the bleaching and effects of plastic pollution or microplastics are killing the corals.
What's bleaching?
So bleaching is when the temperatures rise like 2 to 3% warmer, and especially in shallow water, it is not the right foundation or ecosystem for these corals to survive. And also, the microplastics that we don't even see with our regular eyes that they eat. And corals are animals. A lot of people think they're plants, but they're animals. And so they're dying. So the bleaching means that they turn white, and they slowly, sadly, are dying. And I see it very prevalent in the Maldives. And so I started getting involved in coral planting. And then I did, for the World Oceans Day, a project with Frigate Private Island, where they're working with this guy, Aki, from Coral Live. Coral Live is the project. And he does marine accretion technology, where they are planting the corals and adding a tiny little current to make sure that the corals can grow faster. So really, really impressive work that he's doing. And I've just been kind of partnering up with these people to help promote awareness about what's really going on, as well as last week I was in the Turks and Caicos with Beneath the Waves. Beneath the Waves is an amazing NGO of marine biologists conducting scientific research about the sharks. So Dr. Austin Gallagher, he's on Shark Week, and I always grew up on Shark Week, and I used to love that. So it was a dream of mine to participate and help create awareness that these sharks are not Jaws. They're not dangerous animals, and they need to be, tagged and protected in these, especially in the Bahamas or the Caribbean. And it's really interesting. Like, we sent a GoPro down 600 meters, and then we got the footage back, and we watch it all at the end of the night, and you see like what comes up, what comes up to these to feed. And it was really amazing footage to see these animals and creatures in the deep show up, and how they interact and what they do. Like, for example, I saw that nurse sharks use their dorsal fins as arms to move themselves and position themselves. That was really a really, really cool learning experience. And it was an opportunity to kind of act like a marine biologist, even though that was my dream as a child, but I never pursued it. And so now I can help them as a social media expert, as well as, marketing and promoting their message on my channel, to create more, awareness, but also value for my audience. Sorry.
What do you think has been like the most effective way that you've used content to like get a message? Have you ever been surprised by something, or like, oh, this is like resonated the most?
Yeah, actually, it's been interesting when I go back to a post that I maybe did 2 or 3 months ago, or 4 months ago or something, and I'll go back because I want to show it to someone, and then I see that, it jumped from 50, 60,000 likes, which is my normal, to like 100 or 150. And that's kind of exciting. And that's when I realized, like, oh my gosh, they liked it. I do think that nature and animal posts kind of do better. So like, I remember there was a post where I was in the Maldives and I was talking about my travel agency, because we also help with direct bookings. After years of experience traveling, I figured out how to get the best deals. So that, just in a beautiful clear ocean, talking face to camera, and then another video where I'm hanging out with these shells on the beach and they're like moving all in front of me, and I'm explaining to people, you know, these are shells. I know that when you travel, you want to take shells with you as a gift, but these are also the homes of animals. So yeah, it's always kind of cool when you go back, way back, and something that wasn't on your radar, you realize that, you know, people really, really loved it. Because it doesn't show up within the first 2 days that you posted it. I think that things are video centric. I think videos do better than static images. One of the little tricks that we do for my agency and for clients is we convert static images to animated GIF files. So that is like a technical, you know, detail. We have a lot of other secrets that I cannot hand out, but there's a lot of ways to improve your engagements and kind of play with the algorithm and let it know that you have a valuable post. And I've been blessed to learn that from the inside out. And I never really anticipated for my travel channel to take off as it did. But I got really into the trending content. Like, I like shooting with FPV drone now, which is like a race drone. And it's kind of a very cool style where you can fly up and down or very fast through buildings or palm trees. And just kind of creating that immersive content. For me, it's all about what I'm passionate about and kind of giving that to my audience. And I think they like it. So, you know, I love waterfalls. I love water. I love nature. I love horse riding. And so, and going underwater and getting as close to the animals as possible. Yeah, so it's
how do you take like your wins and make them more wins? Like, it seems like you've played in a lot of different things. Like, you've worked on the travel side, on the content side, you have your NGO. Like, how do you keep finding new ways to improve yourself? Like, do you have anyone that's supporting you, or do you feel like it's just your excitement takes you into a new area? Or how do you do that to like make yourself so dynamic?
I think it's my excitement and it's my quest to learn more and do more and taste more. Like, for me, if I could, I would be in a different country in a different waterfall every day. If there was like a door I could walk into and just show up, like that would be my passion. But of course, you know, you've also got to like kind of earn money to survive. So that's why I built the social media agency side. But now I do pretty well, you know, with a lot of resorts that now, you know, need marketing and need help, and they don't have the right kind of content. So, you know, so I'm working a lot with like Caribbean resorts now based out of Miami. So it's perfect. I realized that I can reduce my carbon footprint. Whereas when I was in Europe, I'd have to travel much further to get to certain islands. So this is perfectly aligned with my heart and what I'm about. Because I think, you know, we can't all do miracle changes in our daily life to contribute to the environment. But if we all did something small, that's really, you know, as much as that's good, you know, like we can all refuse a plastic straw. We can all decide to do something about our carbon footprint in some sort of way. You know, maybe you don't completely give up traveling, but you kind of find a balance or learn to appreciate your backyard more, which is kind of why I chose Miami. I think that it has the right feeling and vibe and beach. So I can enjoy my backyard more and not feel the need to travel. And other than win-win, well, I kind of got into Clubhouse on Sunday, and I have to say that
Yeah, I'm in there. We should do something on content. Yeah, I love it. I like fall asleep next to it.
Yeah, well, yeah, let's do something. I mean, I've found it really amazing, like meeting new people, connecting with people you could normally not connect with, and also getting invaluable information on like how to grow my business more, scale it more, from, you know, coaches or people who've made it. I mean, I guess I've kind of made it, but I don't earn like tons of money, but I'm happy. You know, I love what I do, so it doesn't feel like work, and I have a pretty good income. But it's all on me. And I think, yeah, you know, the nice thing now is that it's word of mouth and people are coming to me, but I'm also like a go-getter. So now I know that I just moved to Miami. I'm like reaching out to everyone, calling. So I think
Yeah.
that win-win is just connections.
What do you think is like the most exciting thing about what's going to happen after COVID with travel? Because, you know, like obviously now it's like really sad. A lot of travel companies are closing and, you know, it's like hasn't been great, but there's obviously great things happening. So can you tell me about some of those great things that you're seeing? I mean, I'm not in there,
Um,
so I don't know what's going on.
yeah. Well, I think that, you know, there's still a bunch of opportunities. I think that, you know, in the past where if somebody was choosing St. Bart's, they already knew the destination, but it was only about the challenge, which hotel they're going to select. I think now there's way more competition and it's like that you need to get in the mix about your destination. So
Hmm.
I think that people who know where to go and what to do, I think there's a lot of misinformation and concern about clarity because, like, hey, St. Bart's just closed. Barbados just has a lockdown. Dominican Republic has a lockdown, but if you're in Casa de Campo or you're in Cap Cana, you're in a residential restricted area. So technically, you can still go out to restaurants. You can still go do stuff. So, and what are the rules? Like, you know, I think that people who are, I think hotels and resorts that are more proactive about getting their marketing message out there can really have an advantage to succeed compared to other islands or other destinations, and making sure that like COVID tests back to the United States, which is a rule after the 26th of January, you know, that's kind of scared some people. Well, let me tell you, I found it very easy because you don't need to do the PCR. It's just a negative test, which means you can also do the argon test, which only costs $50. And a lot of pharmacies do the argon test. So it's like you get it within 20 minutes. So it's actually not as hard to get back in and to have to worry about that complication. And a lot of hotels that are offering it on site on their property makes it much easier to visit and to trust, to want to go there and to want to travel. I think that, yeah, this vaccination passport idea, I think, is evolving. I personally don't want to do it, and I had COVID and I didn't even know. I found out because I was going back to see my dad for Christmas, and that's how I found out in a blood test. So it's a little scary because when I figured that out, it was an awful feeling to realize, like, oh my gosh, I wonder who I could have passed it on to. And just that feeling and knowing that, you know, I have such care for my elders and my family, like that's awful. So it's really kind of a scary virus for the elderly, and you have to play, you know, you have to be responsible for your role in that. And I really think we should all always take tests. It's getting easier and easier to be like, yeah, no big deal, but we all need to take our tests and be safe, you know, to the people around us.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring you back on the content because I have like so many photographers. They're obsessed with like being underwater. They really want to learn about underwater photography.
Mm-hmm.
And I see you have some of that going on. Can you give us some like hints or like what is your favorite thing that you've done?
I also love underwater. I was in the Seychelles when I really first started. Well, I guess maybe I started in Maldives, and I liked the GoPro dome kind of look where you have half underwater, half above. So you can see the water villa in the background, but you swimming or you underwater in the background. I like the depth of a shot like that, and I like that look, but you've got to be very clever with the heat and the condensation, and usually you have to like lick the thing so that the drops are not on it. So there's a lot that goes into perfecting that shot. And I think underwater you need to really be even more talented for editing. I've been lucky enough to also work with some really amazing underwater, you know, photographers like Aymeric from Goss Brothers, who travels with me a lot. He's from France. And Diego Camejo and Wilson Haynes. And they are like, you know, one of them is like really just photography. The other one is more videography. And yeah, there's a lot that goes into making sure you have the right color against that blue. Making sure that your form is perfect, because when you're underwater, it moves your body and your skin differently. So you have to be very slow in your movements. And you really always have to have, rather than going down and where your leg is, you know, it has to be that perfect little flip like this. And you have to kind of have your back like that. So it's all about being graceful and like a ballerina on the look of the actual person that's being shot. And then the videographer and or content creator needs to kind of be able to dive down and get the shots from below and from the side and be underwater with you. So breath work is very important. Free diving is kind of important. And just making sure you get that cool light, that really, really cool light that comes in. You know, it's about really following the light. So it's got, the weather's got to be perfect. And my goodness, if you have an animal rolling by, that's just like the epic shot, you know, and that's timing. That's just luck. That's something you can't really plan. And being respectful of the animal's space in that moment. Very, very, very important. You know, don't touch the animal, and kind of being environmentally friendly.
That's great. Well, if you could leave everybody with a bit of advice, what would that be?
Follow your heart, follow your passion. Realize that doing this kind of job takes a lot of hours, a lot of work, a lot of dedication. And even if it seems challenging and maybe a post doesn't do well, like I had a guy that was so excited about his whale shot on the drone that we caught in Turks last week, and he posted it and it didn't do so well. So he was a little down, and I was like, don't worry. I said, what time did you post? He's like 7 a.m. I'm like, what time do you usually post? He's like 12 noon. I'm like, okay, so your post probably went all the way back in the feed. So by the time people started waking up 8, 9, you were in the back of all the other people that had posted. So you cannot judge that one post as the meaning of, hey, people didn't really like it, you know? And in the end, I think we should all watch Social Dilemma, because it is about dopamine and feeling acknowledged. And don't worry about 1 or 2 posts that don't do well. It's about the overall message, and you should follow your dream, and it may take a little while to get there. But you can if you don't give up. That would be my big message. Yeah.
That's great. And it probably feels the same anyways when you're at 1 million followers, whether something does well or not, than if it did when you had it. Does it feel the same?
Yeah,
or maybe you care less.
I don't really see like my value with the amount of people, and I'm almost even ready. Like if I lost 200-300K because they didn't like me shark tagging, I'd be like, okay, you know what? I want to stay authentic to me and my brand and what I want to post. And I know that those followers will then come. So stay authentic to your brand. Make sure you know your strategy and plan as what you're delivering. You know, I mean, it's different than a girl that's just posting her bikini body and you know, so think about it. If you're a fashion influencer, if you're a content creator, what kind of content creator, what are you going to focus on, and stay in that niche market and stay true to your identity.
And it seems like experiment a lot, because you use all different formats and new technologies and
I mean, like right now, you're right on. Like I'm playing with a little bit of mixing in like fantasy. So I've done a lot of underwater stuff, like in the cenote with a different kind of lighting in blue. Then I did the one in the pool, and then I've added like, you know, coral around it or crazy mountains, but like mixing fantasy with me in it. And that to me was playful and fun. Will I stick to it? Maybe not, but it was fun, you know. And now I did the shark tagging, and I'll probably do another one in March, and you know, and yeah. So I think it's just like always, like Madonna, always changing your content, always evolving, right? Always evolving and keeping it fresh, or changing your. I do think, you know, like otherwise it's like weird if you're just always posting the same thing. But in my case, I really I get excited about it. So that's how I came up with these different ideas and things I wanted to do.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Natalie.
Thank you.
And I definitely want to give you a Scopio account too to play around. I think it could be a good source of inspiration for you.
Yeah, I'd love that.
Cool. All right, Natalie, well, stay safe.
Okay, you
hope
too.
to see you soon in Miami.
Hope to see you soon too. Let me know if you come here.
I will. All right.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
All right.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.